All right, how was your sleep last night? My guess probably wasn't the best. Look, I used to be exactly where you were at too, tossing and turning, too much on my mind, the list goes on. I look back to those days and I realized I felt like crap every day when I didn't get a good night's sleep. I did what I had to do, I worked hard, but I just was barely making it through the day. But there's a way out of that. There's a company, there's a product. It's Magnesium Breakthrough by Bioptimizers that helps change all that in a matter of days. Bioptimizers and I have partnered up for an exclusive deal for all of you out there to get 10% off when you visit magbreakthrough.com/Wolfsden and use the code Wolfsden10 at checkout. You got to give this a shot. There's no excuse to having crappy sleep unless you try this. Magnesium is known to improve sleep, and the way they go about with Mag Breakthrough is awesome. So visit magbreakthrough.com/Wolfsden and use the code Wolfsden10 today. Hey guys, it's JB here, the Wolf of Wall Street in the Wolf's Den. I got a great guest today. We're going to have an incredible conversation here because he's an expert in the world of crypto, blockchain. He's an influencer in that space. He does venture capital, so he really knows his way around the space. We can have a very frank conversation about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the insane in the cryptocurrency world. So I got Oli White. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Glad to be here.
All right, so let's get right down to cases. How much do you hate shitcoins?
Yeah, not a fan of them. Not a fan of them. I think it's one of those things that a lot of people kind of jump on the bandwagon with. But I think like you're literally, unless you're right in there from the start, you're gonna lose money. And I personally stay well away from that type of thing. It's not great.
I think the problem I have with them, and I want to just start right there because it really annoys the hell out of me because it delegitimizes the crypto world. In other words, because there's some really great stuff and some amazing applications, and I think that the future, I don't think it's going to be versus, I don't ever believe there'll be no banks or no money. I think it's going to be sort of like, Apple and Android. They run side by side, right? And there'll be on ramps and off ramps into both. It's this PC, there's Mac. It's not like you're probably too young to remember Betamax before VHS, like where one. So it's not like VHS and then Betamax. It's not one and only one. I think it's going to be a mixture. But I think that the sooner regulation comes into crypto, really stringent regulation, and this other stuff stops, it's better for the space. What do you think?
I mean, I think you're completely right. I mean, we're already seeing, a lot of sort of regulation being talked about, and I think that's really what needs to happen for the whole of the crypto space to blow up and really have that mass adoption. And it is really, the regulation behind it. I think there are so many different, as you call them, shit coins that are popping up every single day that try and act like they have some kind of fundamentals behind them where, you'll get an extra fee for this if you hold for X amount. And at the end of the day, they're never going to survive when the market turns bearish. They're not going to be around at all.
How did you get involved in crypto, and for how many years have you been involved?
So I first got involved in crypto in actually 2017, and it was sort of the first time I ever really heard about crypto. Was super interested. I had a lot of friends that were involved in it as well, and I was like, right, okay, let's invest some money. I invested some money, and I basically had the I just wanted to hold. I never wanted to sell. And that was the biggest problem. I had diamond hands all the way through and was like, this is going to be the new world, the new thing, and it's never going to drop. And I did really well. It just, the crash came, and it went down significantly. And I was down a lot of money. But I kept holding it. I'm still holding it now. And it's recovered a lot and done, massively better. So I'm glad I held it. But yeah, I wish I took profits on the way up, and taking profits is always a very good thing. You can't lose if you're taking profits. So I've learned a lot, and I'm always learning. Like So I got involved then, and then after the sort of crash happened, I kind of just like left the space. I wasn't really that involved on a technical level or wanting to get involved that much to it. I just wanted to invest. And then I came into the space in January again this year, and I met a couple of different people in the space who were like incredibly knowledgeable that were there since like 2013. And it just I just sparked so many different ideas, and I love crypto. Like I've always loved it. I think it's going to be the future. Like it will be the future for sure. One way or another, it will get there, and I think it's incredibly interesting for sure.
When you say crypto is the future, do you tell me if you were to imagine the world 5 years from now? Where do you see it? How do you see crypto fitting into the world in 5 years? So it's 2020. Let's just say 2025.
Yeah.
What's the world look like?
I mean, look, like at the end of the day, like, you know, businesses run on information, and, you know, the faster that information is received, the more accurate it is, the better. And, you know, blockchain is ideal for that. And I genuinely see a lot of businesses, nearly every business, moving over to blockchain technology one way or another. I see Bitcoin being that main, you know, that it's that main currency that everyone talks about within the crypto space. It's the most well-known one. And I do personally see that being sort of the digital gold, the digital asset of value. But I think like Ethereum is kind of like the Internet of Things. It's kind of everything, you know, the amount of, the amount of, you know, decentralized applications launching on it. I just think the space is growing so much, but I think, as you pointed out at the start, like regulation is really going to play a key part, and I think that's what might have an impact. I still don't know whether we're going to be reaching up to the 65K that we had, or this is kind of a bit of a run we're having, and then things are going to flatten out. I think it really depends whether regulators are going to act on this fast and start, you know, bringing in things that's just not going to be good for the market currently. But I think longer term, it will be good.
So you mentioned Ethereum, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I had a conversation with someone named Robert Beatles, who's my partner in Monarch. And Beatles is the guy who, he's known as Beatles in the crypto world, was the first person that really spoke to me about crypto in a very sober way that I could connect with. Like I was hearing these, it's going to 1 million. It's going to be this. There's going to be no more money except for bit. And I was like, that's just fucking nonsense to me. Like that's just nonsense. It never made sense. And it was very obvious that, you know, when you're looking to sort of manipulate something and keep the bubble going, that once something goes to 30,000, you have to say it's going to 1 million, because if it's just going to 45,000, that's not good enough for the average person to want to invest. So they start creating all these unrealistic expectations. It'll be 1 million by the end of the year. Come on, I mean, but he came to me with a very, very different take on it, and really, he was the first person that was really listen, number one, it's digital gold. It's not currency. It's not designed to be currency. It's never going to be currency. It will never function well as currency because it's gone in a completely different direction. You cannot use it. He was like saying, you cannot use it as currency because it's a shitty currency. He goes, it's an incredibly efficient store of value. And it becomes more and more of a store as more people start to buy it, and there's more nodes and more broader representation, right? Yeah. But he also said to me this morning, because we were talking about Monarch and the ability to use the Ethereum blockchain. He's like, honestly, the Ethereum blockchain just really sucks. He goes, I hate to say it. He goes, I mean, it is so flawed in so many ways. And it's really a shame because he's a brilliant guy, Vitalik Buterin. Yeah. But it's just really, really crappy at doing what it's supposed to do. It's slow, it's expensive, it's cumbersome. And all these things that are supposed to get fixed never get fixed. And it's still being fucked with, and it's still not really working the right way. And he gave me examples of other chains that are far more effective that really, so, do you think, and I listen, and again, I'm an expert in the business side of crypto more than in the actual technical side of, what happens with I'm pretty well versed, but there's some things I'm just haven't really dug so far down the rabbit hole yet, right? But do you think that Ethereum is going to be the surviving smart contract standard, or is something going to come along that really just, has a lot better functionality and replaces it?
Yeah, I mean, I personally think Ethereum's always going to be around. Like, I think they are always trying to make it better. We recently had an upgrade, the EIP 1559, and that's basically that burns Ethereum with every transaction. So it's
they burned
Ethereum
16,000 Ethereum the other day, right? And it's supposed to be a little faster. But is it? The question is it putting a Band-Aid on a cancer patient? I don't want to say I'm long Ethereum, just so you know. I have a lot of Ethereums. I didn't mean that like it's going. I don't think it's dying. I'm just saying I just don't think it's very efficient.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we've seen like so many different layer 2 solutions like Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, which is Matic, just blow up because the gas fees on that are nothing. The gas fee for a transaction, is going to be in the pence. It's going to be hardly anything. And I think that's why there's been so much adoption. I mean, Binance, I can't even remember what the market cap went to when Bitcoin was around 65K, but it was astronomical. And we've got things like Polkadot, Havel coming out. We've got Cardano Pulse as well. There's so many different ones that are trying to compete with Ethereum in that number one spot. And I think we will see them get there. But I also think as well, as you said, you're going to have your Androids and your Apple. There's going to be different use cases, I think, for the different blockchains.
What are your thoughts on this whole move? This initial phase 1 crypto adoption is based on centralized solutions for a decentralized technology. So I look at things like an exchange like Coinbase as being kind of laughable in a sense that it's the exact opposite of what crypto represents. It's like literally a centralized solution for a decentralizing force, and it's like shoving a square peg in a round hole. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, like Coinbase is a real like starter platform. I think like anyone getting into crypto, it's kind of a really easy, friendly to use platform. It's got a certain list of assets listed. If you want to then go for a more complex decentralized route, you use Uniswap or SushiSwap. You don't have to KYC, you don't have to use any kind of information. And that's, really, really blown up recently. And I think that's also going to, continue to push for sort of the decentralization, of crypto. A lot of people trade and, they don't want to KYC, they don't want to give information. Me personally, like, I don't mind. I pay my taxes, I do this, do that, so
I think that's a problem, by the way. That part, I think that aspect is going to be a problem for crypto. I think that needs to stop. Not to say it needs to stop, but I don't think that's possible for crypto to flourish in the shadows like that.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly why, like, regulation, although I think it's gonna have a real impact, and a lot of people are going to be scared, and then they're going to pull out. I think it is going to be needed for the mass adoption of cryptocurrency as a whole. We've seen so many things just blowing up recently. The whole NFT landscape, obviously DeFi as well, and it'll be interesting to see how regulators approach that and what they do and how quickly they actually act on that.
What are your thoughts on the regulation coming in right now in the United States? Are you familiar with what they're proposing right now in Congress?
I will admit I haven't actually fully caught up on it, no.
Okay. So basically there's kind of two schools of thought, really, and they're really focusing in right now. It's not so much regulation, it's really taxation, right?
Yeah.
And I guess the question I have for this whole crypto space is, if you're going to really have a functioning market, right, that is going to be just, a global real, do you really think you can operate in the shadows? Like, the point is, if you go back in the history of the world, every time you find a dark market like that that's not being regulated, there's always massive fraud involved. There just is. It's just human nature. You know what I'm saying? Like things, and again, me, I'm not a pro-regulation guy by any stretch, but I think that people are maybe a bit too young to understand what happens when regulation comes in. When regulation comes in, markets explode and go higher, not lower. So people in the junk bond market was nascent, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, they're regulating junk bonds. That's it. It's the end of junk bonds." And as soon as they regulated, it went parabolic, went 1,000% higher. Okay. Yeah. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, at the end of the day, the people that are sort of more keeping the shadows, they're wanting to avoid paying that tax. I think as well, the crypto space is really complex. It's not simple. It's not really like buying a stock at this price, selling it for that. You've got your capital gains, and that's that. If you're airdrop something, or you're airdrop tokens, or you're staking, that's an income tax essentially. And I think a lot of people, like, there's a lot of like younger people involved in crypto because their mates told them about Dogecoin or whatever, and they're buying a dog, and all of a sudden, like, yeah, if you gain money on that, you're going to have to pay tax on it. So I think there's also a lot of like education that's needed, because I think crypto is seen as this like really fun, like digital currency with all these like colorful characters that you can buy. But I think people sometimes forget that you need to pay taxes on that, and you need to, abide by the law properly wherever, you're living. I mean, as we've said, like, I just think the regulation will come in. I don't know how long it's going to take them to do it. I think as soon as it starts to happen, I think people will get scared, because it will. A lot of the people that are not wanting to pay their taxes and they aren't wanting to sort of go by regulation, they will just pull their money out, or they will hide it, or they'll do something. But I think in the long run, I think it's the only way that crypto will just be massively adopted by every institution and company out there, really.
What are your thoughts on a digital yuan? So, like, when I look at things like a digital yuan, I'm like, whoa. I'm like, that's like probably Satoshi's worst nightmare of what he ever thought this technology could come to represent, in the sense that theoretically, like, it gives the Chinese government, and then I don't want to even point out China, any government, any sovereign country, literally absolute laser-guided transparency and tracing ability into where every single penny or yuan is at any moment in time. And if they don't like you, or let's say you, like in China, there's a social credit score. Maybe if your social credit score drops below a certain level, suddenly your digital yuan is no longer in your wallet, and like it's just instantaneous. Like, what are your thoughts? Does that scare you at all? Like central bank cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it goes.
Well, they're not really cryptocurrencies. They're not really cryptocurrency, but those are not cryptos. Those are just central bank digital currencies.
Yeah,
they're digital, not crypto.
Yeah, I think the governments have like seen crypto and gone, hold on a minute, we're kind of missing out on something here. Like, how can we make our own digital currency that's then used? And it goes against, I think, everyone that's pretty much involved in crypto. You never really want to have that one sort of centralized organization. You want the space to be decentralized. That's the whole aim and the whole point of crypto. And everything is recorded on the blockchain for people to view. Yes, it can be hard sometimes, and if people have not KYC'd, or their wallets are sort of mysterious, and they're using things like Tornado Cash to send funds around, then you can do that. I mean, today I think it was one of the largest hacks in history.
On Poly,
600 million. And the hacker has just been tormenting them by sending transactions, but with notes in them. And it's insane. I mean, I think he'll give it back. I think it's more of a status thing of like, look at me, I was able to do this. Here, okay, have your money back. But I wonder,
you
like,
you really think so?
I don't know. I mean, 600 million, like, it's. I then think I mean, if it was
Where's the price right now? Where's the price of Poly right now? How much is it down today?
So it was on Poly Network. So it was, let me just have a look at Poly Network. So it was on Poly Network, but it was they took it out of I think, was it liquidity pools? So they consisting more of 270 million on the Ethereum blockchain, 250 million on the Binance Smart Chain, and 84 million on the Polygon network. So it was from Poly Network. Yeah. I mean, it's insane.
It's a lot of fucking money.
But I don't know if I was the hacker thinking like this. If I was the hacker, how can you do anything with that? Like, their wallet is now known. I mean, they can use things like Tornado Cash to mask and cover up the transactions, but I still think there's a possibility that can be traced. It's too much money to lose. I hope they give it back, because that's really sad, because it's loads of community. That's people's money. That's community money. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully they will.
All right, want to grow your business, diversify your content? You're not going to find a better tool out there than Melon for your live streaming needs. Blazing fast response time, low CPU usage, all available right in your browser. Go to melonapp.com/wolf and start streaming today. So you're in the investment banking VC game, right? You do venture capital, right?
So not sort of on a mass scale, all using sort of own funds. It's just me and my business partner, but we basically saw that there are a lot of VCs that were popping up in the crypto space, and traditionally, like VCs, they help with seed fundraising, and they might help them with sort of marketing. They might help them with getting other either influencers on board or raising more money. And we basically just sort of witnessed that a lot of VCs didn't really do anything. They kind of gave the money, but they didn't really provide any additional sort of help. So we're really like trying to change that by providing additional help. We started up a YouTube channel called Simple Crypto. So we then actually take the project that we have invested in. We do like a 60-second roundup of that project. Make it really, really professional video, and so that people can really understand what it is from more of a retail perspective than like really, really technical. And then we'll also then work with them on creating like tutorial videos. So we really try and sort of, as having a production company and being in YouTube for 10 years, I know marketing, I know how to use social media, I know how to create videos. And we did that. And we've invested in some like really, really awesome projects. It's just growing so much. The thing is, there's projects popping up all the time, and you need to figure out like what is worthwhile, what is a great project to get into. I mean, today, for example, we invested in a project called DeFi Safety, and they just closed their $1 million seed round. And we're really pleased to be a part of them. And then, we also very much look for the NFT space. And at the moment, DeFi and gaming is where our interest is with investing with our ventures. So we also invested in an NFT game the other week called Polka Fantasy. They're kind of an upcoming like RPG metaverse game with marketplace NFTs. But they got some really, really cool like Japanese artists involved. And one of their advisors is he's a CEO of Square Enix. So it's really cool to see traditional gaming companies get involved really to the NFT space.
What do you look for in it? Do you put your own money in?
Yeah. I mean, it takes time to find what's good. We have multiple different conversations with team. We try and, the projects we get involved with, we really try and add value. Like I don't want to get in anything if I'm not adding value to, the project. And I think at the moment it's really like the narrative driver. So the narrative driver is DeFi. It's also NFTs. Like, I don't know whether you're a big fan of NFTs or not. Do you like NFTs?
I am. I do. Yes, I do. Yeah, I do.
Have you bought any? Have you bought any?
No, I haven't bought any, but I'm actually creating some myself. I'm in the process of doing that right now, and I'm going to launch. But I'm very much into the DeFi space. The only reason I haven't bought any NFTs is I'm just not a collectible. I don't deal with collectibles. Like, in other words, It's not my thing. I never did it.
Okay.
So, but I think I like NFTs for a different reason. I think that what you're seeing right now is a very, very small use case for NFTs. I believe you could ultimately use NFTs for a vast array of things out there, whether it's real estate, just many, many things could be tokenized. Probably 10% of the global GDP could be tokenized.
I'm glad you see that vision.
Of course I do, but I look at this as just being an irrelevancy, like buying a funny looking ape or something. I mean, it's just, if you like that, I think you should do that if you like that stuff. Like, if you like, I have a guy who works for me, he loves collectibles, that's like, then you should do that. I think that the NFT, but the technology excites me. All right. And I think it has a lot of use cases outside of that. And I was pretty close to investing in an NFT deal. And then I just backed away mostly because of the nature of the people that were running it. Not they're bad people, just that, you have to have people that If someone just wants me to come in so that I can help them raise money, I'm not interested in doing that. That's not what I do. You know, I have companies offer me very large stakes in their businesses for no money, because they just want me involved in their business for branding and also advice. And then, of course, obviously, I help them raise money, because that's why would I not? If I own part of the company, it needs to be capitalized, right? So I'm looking for things where I can, you know, like you, give massive value, and especially my brand is very strong around the world with, you know, anyone under the age of 30, you know, and really under the age of 50. But there's a sweet spot here of, like, you know, probably 10 years old to 35, and it's pretty much everyone knows me. So I'm looking for companies like that. What do you think is the most exciting thing about NFTs? Like, when you look at the whole space, what do you look for in a deal you'd invest in?
I mean, NFTs, look, they really took off in 2017, you know, and then they died, and now they've come back. And I think what we really need to see to push this space forwards is just a lot higher quality projects, rather than someone just making a quick artwork in 5 minutes and selling it. You know, punks are the OGs. You know, you've then got Beeple, like with his Blender artwork, which is just like absolutely insane. And you know, a lot of the traditional art world people, they're moving to, you know, the blockchain and creating NFTs. I actually got involved with a really cool NFT project called Cicada's Finance, which the team have been working on very hard for like the last couple of months, which is actually launching this Friday. And it's built around, I don't know whether you've ever heard of it, but Cicada 3301. It was like a mystery on the internet. It was this organization that were looking for like the smartest individuals to crack codes and solve puzzles. So it's kind of built off that. They're adding a lot of like puzzles within it that you need to solve, which leads to rewards. You know, combined with like very high quality like 3D artwork of the actual cicadas produced in Blender. But I think what we're actually seeing is that, like, what I've seen recently is that, you know, some people are just creating the artwork to just sell random pieces, but then other people are coming up with like concepts of, you know, creating 7,000 to 10,000 images, and they will basically be made up from a randomly generated script. And say if you've got a character like a dog or something, it will have different traits and rarities. So the developers, they won't choose exactly how it looks. It will be completely randomized. And why that makes me excited is because it is literally like collectibles and cards. Like, I, as a kid,
right,
you obviously didn't, but I loved collecting cards. The feeling of opening a pack and might be getting a rare one, it was just like so interesting, so exciting. And for me, like minting NFTs and like new projects dropping, it is. And like some people, you know, if you get the right project and the right hype, you can flip it for really good money. I like it from a fun aspect. Like, I don't go big in it at all, but I like to try and get in little projects here and there and, you know, help out, you know, with the Cicada Finance. I think it's really interesting. If you want an NFT, we'll send you one. Your first NFT.
Yeah, right. No, listen, I did collect cards as a kid. I guess, you know, I like, when I go into something, I typically go all in on it, right? So it's like I really got, like, you know, I was really a bear in crypto for many years. Never on blockchain. I always liked blockchain. I was very, very concerned. And when I made a call in 2017, I was almost exactly right on the timing. I came out like right at the top of the market, like 20,000, and said, this shit is going to crash so hard. And I was right almost to the day.
Wow.
What I was wrong about was I thought it would never come back. Right. I was wrong about that, right? I mean, I'll admit that. But the reason I was wrong is because I thought that the governments, the sovereigns, would shut it down. It was never something I didn't like, the idea of Bitcoin or blockchain. I always loved it. I'm like, how the fuck is the US, like, why would they allow this? Like, to me, I was like, I just could not, you know, knowing from my own life story, I went to jail for money laundering. Like, for smuggling money to Switzerland. And I remember how batshit crazy they were about that. Of all the things I ever did, that's what I went to jail for, was the money going to Switzerland. Yeah. And then I watched them over the following 10 years crack down on Switzerland so much. And I'm like, so wait, they're just going to allow this other vehicle to do the same thing that can arguably do the same? Like, why would they allow that, right? So that was my whole thing. It never had to do with Bitcoin, never had to do with technology, and it certainly was not about blockchain, because I thought blockchain would flourish as it has. But I was convinced the government simply say, no, you cannot invest in this stuff because it's too easy to, you know, do things you shouldn't do. Now, thankfully that didn't happen. I'm the first person to admit when I'm wrong, but I'm just explaining, I think my thesis was very logical, and I think a lot of people, like very smart people, still are saying, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand why the U.S. would allow this. Some people say, oh, they can't do anything about it. That's nonsense. If they really wanted to, they could. But I think now, I think it's a bit too late at this point. I think the genie's out of the bottle at this point. So that's why I'm long, and I think it's going higher. What do you think about that?
What are you most bullish on? Like, what are you keeping your eye on? Like, what do you think has real potential to just keep going and going and going and really have mass adoption?
80%, 90% of what I own is in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of Ethereum as well. I have some Matic. I have a little bit of Cardano. But I am never going to sell. Like, for me, it's
diamond
simply
hands.
Very simple. Well, yeah, it's not even that though. It's you know what it is? It's, for me, it's a hedge.
Yeah.
Like, if it goes to zero, okay, it goes to zero, and that's that. Yeah. But I don't want to be the idiot that didn't have enough of it, that if it happens to take off and go like a rocket ship to the stars, I want to have enough of it so that I'm like, whatever, I got that. I didn't lose out on that sort of run. Just so it's a very important hedge for me overall. It's not a large amount of the money I have, but I have enough in there that if it really took off, I'd be able to pick up the benefit of that in a significant enough way that I wouldn't feel bad about what happened.
Yeah.
And I don't think the risk, I don't think it's going to zero. I don't think that happens. I think it could go. I don't know where Bitcoin is going tomorrow. I don't know where. I think I hate when people try to tell you it's going to the moon tomorrow. How the fuck do you know where it's going? I mean,
the funniest thing is those exact people that are saying it's going to the moon, as soon as there's a red day, they're like, no, so bearish. I'm so bearish.
Exactly, right? I mean, come on. Like, I respect what you first thing that you said I respected most. Like, I bought it. I just never sold it. I'm in that camp. And it's not because of any great philosophical, it's not because I'm like, I'll never sell. It's just that because I bought it as a hedge. Yeah. And I don't think
it helps to hold. If you pick the right thing and you hold, you can do very well. I mean, as an example, I got in Chainlink. You've heard of Chainlink, right?
Yes.
So I got in Chainlink at like 20 cents. And, now I think it's trading around about $20 or so, and did extremely well from that. Put a small amount of money in that, and it, turned into an astronomical amount. And that was really from holding. I could have sold that when it was worth nothing, got my money out. But I was like, you know what? Like, I also, don't want to be the person that's not involved in this space. So you're holding Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a couple of others, like sort of more blue chip coins.
But I'm much more involved. I own large pieces of companies that are involved in all aspects of blockchain and crypto except coins. I do not want to fuck with the coins because I'm concerned about the SEC. I live in the United States. I don't want to. I'm a very fortunate person. I went to jail many years ago, and I've now rehabilitated my image and everyone I invest, and I'm beloved by investors and people. And I would not want to inadvertently dabble in something only to find out that I got myself in trouble again. It's just not worth it to me. So I can't take certain risks that other people can take. I just refuse to even expose myself to any possible scrutiny like that. So I avoid anything involving a coin. I just avoid it like the plague. I avoid things that are involved in the inflation of a coin. I just think that's very dangerous. I don't want people to lose money, because if I was to get behind a coin, I could really pump a fucking coin up, okay? And I just will not get behind that. So I involve myself in things like that are really more the nuts and bolts, the infrastructure of crypto. And I'm very, very excited about that. And I think there's going to be some really, major advances in the space. Like, for example, that right now crypto is really very seldom used for transaction. I believe that one day, I don't think it'll be Bitcoin or Ethereum. I think that people will be using stable tokens in commerce. I'm a big believer in using in focusing on that aspect of crypto, of stable tokens for commerce. So we have that. We have a Monarch wallet, which is a decentralized wallet. We have about 1 million people with the wallet right now, but we're launching a payment process, like a decentralized PayPal for crypto. And that's very powerful, very user-friendly. So that's, launch. It's really ready to launch now. We're just about to do a big deal in Asia. And then we'll announce that and then kind of, start really rolling forward. So the things that you love about crypto, right? You love the idea that of the decentralization, financial empowerment, It's almost levels the playing field with Wall Street a bit. They don't have the big edge they have, right? What don't you like about crypto? Anything that bothers you about it?
I think really like the meme coins and just like the projects that don't do anything. I think, look, like you can have fun at the end of the day. If someone's going to put their money into it, it's at their own risk. But I think a lot of people are also stupid and put everything they have into something. And then when it doesn't go their way, they're like, wow, I've lost everything. And now I'm in a really shit position. It's their fault. I mean, I just think that meme coins are the issue. And I think, Doge I think it hit max like 70 cent. And I think that going to 70 cent, that was a massive indicator that could have been the top. And I still don't know. I still don't know whether 65K was it was the top for then. Are we going to go back there? I don't know, but I think the meme coins and the shit coins just need to kind of fizzle out, and people need to realize they might be fun. You can put a bit in, but do not get them to market caps of billions and billions, because it's not going to end well.
I think, it's interesting. If you said to me, what's my hope for Bitcoin? I hope Bitcoin ends the year at $10,000. See, I'm the opposite. Okay. I want Bitcoin to go down as much as possible because I want to buy more.
I'm the same. Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. Like I don't hope Bitcoin goes up. Like I hope it goes down because I want more of it because I think it's a good store of value. And I think that's the fundamental difference between someone that really is investing with the right intent versus not. Because let me just explain to you, manipulation, and I'm an expert at manipulation in the stock market, right? Is that it's buying something with the intent on driving the price higher. That is the definition of manipulation. It's making a purchase with the intent of increasing the price. Because theoretically, you don't want to increase the price with your purchase because that means you're paying more for what you bought. The idea is you want to buy slowly, not to drive the price up, and then after you're done buying, then you want the price to go up, right? Yeah. But a lot of people, I think people really need to understand that with whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, anything else, whatever the coin that you like, whatever investment you're making, you have to. I really believe that you have to have a longer term horizon on this stuff. I think it's very, very dangerous and never say impossible. It's almost impossible to time the market that closely unless you are literally wired in at the highest level. You're watching it every second. I think it's much safer to not do that.
I don't trade. Like I've never really traded. I look for fundamentals. I look for the narrative in the market, what's driving it. I have that for sort of like mid-term outlook. And then I look definitely a lot more longer term as well. So like, holding store of value in Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. I think that's the smartest thing to do. And I think, for some people out there, they might have the, idea of just holding, which is great. But I also think if you are up a good amount of money and it can change your life in a positive way and it can help you pay your bills or your mortgage, like always take some profit off the table, because I know a lot of people that have never done that and then they just get burnt, and it might be they've got to wait 3-4 years again before, really things start getting pumping again and they regenerate that money back.
Yeah. Predictions, right? Just I know there's no certainty. If you had to take a guess, where do you think Bitcoin closes at the end of the year, December 31?
I never like giving predictions, but I
mean, it's for fun here. This is totally for fun.
Yeah,
it's your own personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean, where are we at with Bitcoin at the moment? We're at 45K. We're at 45K with Bitcoin dollars. I mean, I really, really hope we break through the 65K mark. I mean, if we can even get back there by the end of the year, I think that would be amazing. I think we will, but I think, unfortunately, there might be a real hard sell-off. I think I hope Ethereum can get to 10,000. I think we're probably realistically, I think it will go more than the 4,300, which was kind of the peak of what we had back in May. But 6,000-7,000 I'm hoping for. But I'm in that situation as well, where I kind of like, I'm excited for everything to go up, but equally as well, I'm really excited to accumulate more for sort of longer term holdings.
Great. Any last bit of advice that you want to give to your kind of fan base, my fan base, and people that, what would you say about, investing and, what's the rules that you want people to go by? If you had to just give some advice here.
I think do research. Like research is so important, and just understand crypto and just like the grand scheme of things. Understand what Bitcoin is, what blockchain technology is, what Ethereum is, and go sort of down the cap table from the highest market caps and work your way down. Because a lot of people, they just get brought onto really low cap, very very high risk coins like dog coins, food coins, this and that, and they don't really understand it. Understand the fundamentals from researching. Don't just listen what your mate's saying to buy. And I think like have a strategy, always have a plan. Like, if you're going to invest in something and it does a 10x or a 3x or however much X you want it to go, take that money out that you've invested and always take out profits. You can never lose if you're taking out profits. Always set aside money if you've realized a gain for tax, because that will come round and bite your ass. Always sort that out. And I think just never invest in a thing that you're willing to lose. A lot of people do it, and it burns them real hard, and people get really excited because they think what they could have. But I think when you're less greedy, you're more rewarded. And I think if you've made money that you could, as I've said before, if you've made money that you can use to change your life in a positive way, help others, or, get yourself in a better position in life, I think that's just so important. So important. And, I've done that recently, in the last couple of months. Up until now, since 2017, had never even taken out my original investment. And I invested quite a bit, and I was like, it's insane how I've never actually withdrew that to my bank account. So I'm really happy I did that. And you know what? It put the biggest smile on my face ever. When I withdrew the money to my account, I went, oh my God, wait, hold on a minute. So this kind of, digital assets that I've been trading for however long, it actually has now a value in my bank. It was insane. And it's a nice achievement for sure.
How do people follow you? What's the best way? Your YouTube? Where do you do most of your stuff?
I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube as well.
What's your handle on YouTube? How do we find it?
Oli White, OLI White. That's the one.
Good deal. Well, all right, listen, it's great to speak to you. Perhaps we'll do some deals together. If you see anything great, let me know. I'm always open looking for stuff.
Mate, you know where I am. I'd love to chat.
Sounds good, my friend. Everyone, Oli White, thanks for coming on. Share this with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. This is interesting. Let's see where Bitcoin goes by the end of the year, Oli. I think it might be higher than you think. I think it's going to be a bit higher, but we'll see. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.